Welcome to this tutorial on the reflection effect in the title punch effect set from Useful Effects and from FxFactory. All of the effects that we find in title punch are designed specifically to take advantage of the presence of an alpha channel, or an opacity layer, if you will. Since all of the titles in Final Cut have this alpha channel, they're the natural accompaniment to using the title punch set, therefore the clever title. Now, what we've done here is simply put on a drifting effect, and so we'll go through how to create this little simple animation. So I have already put on a default drifting and just changed the wording a little bit. It's just a standard title that we find inside Final Cut, just the drifting effect, apply it on and change your words. Go back to the Effects tab, and we see all of the title punch effects. Let's go ahead and apply reflection, and it comes up with a default metal texture, but of course we can change that. First of all, you can see that we have a problem with the fact that it gets cut off on the side. So this is getting cut off and cut off over here. So we have a couple of ways to fix this. One is to use the camera distance and just move in. That's one solution to it. Another way to do this is you could move this around such that the camera angle takes care of that, but in this case we're not going to get both sides. So another way to take care of this is just to use the clip scale and scale that up a little bit. So this seems to be okay for us. We have a couple of other OSCs. One moves the clip around, and the other one moves the light around as well. And then again, the last one will move the camera around. All right, we have another problem here when we move it too far, is that we see the edge of the backdrop. So how do we fix that? Well, one is to just not move the camera that far, right? That's one solution. The second is to, again, move in or out with the distance. And a third solution would be to go down and use the scale parameter for the drop zone and just scale that up. We're going to use this because it's the most straightforward. All right, now as we mentioned, there are three on-screen controls, and there's this distance parameter, and there's something a little bit odd here, which we have a camera 1 and camera 2 distance. If we move camera 1, we see that that works, and camera 2 doesn't seem to do anything. We move that up and down, nothing happens. This is because the keyframing system in Final Cut really has a lot to be desired, so we wanted to keep the keyframing as minimum as possible, so we've whittled it down to one parameter that you have to key. So what I'll do is we'll go to the beginning, and the camera transition is that parameter. What it will do is transition between the camera 1 position and the camera 2 position. So I just slide this forward, and you'll see that it automatically transitions from one to the other. You'll also notice that as I hit 0 and as I leave 0, you can see one of the on-screen controls is turning on and turning off. This is because we didn't want to have you be somewhere in the middle and say, well, is it distance 1 that I'm using or distance 2 that I'm using? Which one is really influencing that area? By limiting on-screen control to just be the ends, we're simplifying that process for you. So what I will do is just put in a keyframe here, then I'll go to the end, and I will transition this over, and of course I can move the camera to any position I want, maybe do this. And now I have my animation from camera 1 to camera 2. Now obviously we can change the background, so if we want to use the drop zone, go in and pick a different image to be the background, apply that, and then we can go ahead and use the drop zone brightness, pump that up a little bit. We can see there's a colorize parameter. If this is 0, let's put some color on there. If this is 0, this colorize parameter, this will mean that it's not taking any of this color pot, and if we boost it up to 1, it's going to be taking the entirety of that color pot. So if you're using, for example, a clip with more colorful information, you might want to be conscious of this particular slider. So that's a bit about how to use the camera animation inside reflection. Now again, this works for anything with an alpha channel, so I'm going to go open this up again. I'm going to put on the logo, and if we go to the view menu, we can take a look at the alpha channel, and we see that there is indeed some alpha information. This is the transparency channel. So I'll go back to color, And I'll just copy this, Command C obviously, and if we go over here, select that, and we say Edit, we can say Paste Effects. And what this will do is just paste that same effect, except now it's on this separate clip. But we have one problem, which is that the animation stops only partially way through that title. So we could have two solutions there. We either shorten the clip, or we can open up the animation, and we see that, as I mentioned before, there's only one channel that we have to worry about for the animation. So I'm just going to grab this, move this forward, moves this up to the end, and now of course the animation is much slower, but it goes over the duration of the clip. So that's a little bit about some of the more, shall we say, opaque features that we can find in the reflection effect in the title punch set. Thank you very much.